Awesome. Thanks for joining us, Coach. We'll start off with questions from Jared.
Hey, Coach.
What's going on?
Wanted to ask about facing, the run game. You've done so well against Utah State. Boise State had some success with that early on. What did you learn about, what teams are doing to try and attack your defense?
The Boise game, I thought that they came in with a good game plan. We had different fronts that probably just wasn't the best against the plan that they had, and it took us a little bit of time to adjust. That we really had to just completely abandon the game plan that we'd practiced and go to something just a little bit different. And so, it wasn't until then that we were able to slow them down a little bit. But I thought they came in with a good game plan, just different. And you start to see games like South Florida, in the second half, what Boise did really as they came in as a game plan. I think how explosive our offense is, and I think certain teams come in with the game plan to keep the ball away from our offense. And really just try to grind out, drives with 3 yards here, 2 yards there, 4 yards there. So, when we look at just statistically, what we end up trying to do and what we did is, holding them to just a little over 3 yards per carry and 5 yards per attempt and pass. I mean, we would normally celebrate that, but where we came away feeling like we probably should have held them a little bit more closer to 2 yards per carry, and a little bit happier with fewer PIs. And then defensively in the Boise game, we feel a little bit better, but we've got to do a better job as a coaching staff, myself, just anticipating a little bit more of what people are going to try to do to keep our offense off the field. And just prepare for it.
Speaking of preparation, let's talk about preparing for this week and a Jeff Grimes-led offense. What's that like?
A lot like facing what we're already facing right now. Obviously, there's a lot of similarities in calls and just the way that they run things and teach things, and so we're getting a lot of good crossover with our offense. To prepare for it. We know that they're going to be well coached. Obviously, I have a lot of respect for Coach Grimes and what he does, and think that these boys are going to be ready and play hard. So it'll be a good battle.
Norma and then Mitch.
Hey, Coach. So I know last week you guys didn't have – you obviously lost the turnover battle, but previously you guys had been pretty good at being able to get those takeaways. What are you going to do to be able to get back to that against Baylor and maybe even get their first interception of the season?
Yeah, it's we've got to like you said, we've got to be opportunistic and opportunities that come our way with making tackles and first guy holding them up and stripping at the ball, and some of the things that thought Boise did with coming in and taking shots at the ball was really good, and we need to do the same thing with doing that. And I think that the way that they teach their quarterback, he's well coached. He gets rid of the ball. He's not a guy that holds on to it for a long time. He's got really good timing, and their scheme is good. It's hard to defend, and so we just got to keep coaching it, and keep getting after it, and when we have those opportunities, we got to capitalize.
Just how hard is it to defend those passes and to try not to draw one of those PI penalties, but still wanting to get a takeaway, or at least a pass breakup or something? Just how hard is it to be able to get players to just get it right?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I think you look at corners, right? Just corners in general, corners in the NFL, and just how high they're paid. I mean, to get a lockdown corner, to get a corner that plays the ball, turns and plays the ball. I mean, it's the position group that has to have the shortest memory as far as just something bad happening, because you could really spiral if you're just thinking about the pass interference that you had. And when you play a lot of aggressive defense, you play man, that you're going to give up a couple of PIs, and there's always just argument as far as whether one was or wasn't a PI, but we've got to do better at playing the ball. And it really is difficult. In answer to your question, it's it's one of the most difficult things to do is play the ball, especially when you have quarterbacks who are very timely and really throw the ball in spots that are hard to defend. I mean, back shoulder fades, or you see it so much in the NFL now, and just a lot of the really good passing teams do it, and it's hard to defend. And so you just got to keep fighting and play all the way to the ground and hope the ball pops out. And we've done that a couple times in the last couple games, which is good. But we've got to keep turning and trying to play the ball so we can get some takeaways.
Ilaisa, how far back does your relationship go with Dave Aranda, and is there any moments or memories that you've had with him that you'd be willing to share?
Yeah, no, so I don't know. Like, I know Dave. Obviously, we know each other. We crossed over for about 2 months before I left Utah State and went to Utah. But he has a really, really rich history with Coach Lamb. I mean, they've known each other for a long time, and then Coach Clune too. He and Coach Clune coached together. We were all together at Utah State when I left. Coach Clune and Coach Aranda were on the same staff there, and so I think those guys would be better to ask about those. And obviously, we know each other, respect each other, have the same mentorship with the D-line guy that we go to. It was actually when I was at Utah in my second year and I got moved from tight ends to the D-line. I called Frank Miley, my cousin, and asked him to talk a little bit of D-line. And he was like, "Oh, I'm actually headed out to Wisconsin to visit Gary Anderson and Dave Aranda, and Pete Jenkins, the D-line guy, is going to be out there." And so I went with them. I got to spend a lot more time with Dave Aranda there, and really my introduction to Pete Jenkins as a D-line coach and his mentorship was through Frank Miley, Gary Anderson, and Dave Aranda.
And also, I wanted to ask, will you have to change any signals or play calls for your defense this week due to how much maybe institutional knowledge Grimes, Mateos, and Mitchell have of BYU?
Yeah, I think they're thinking about it. We're thinking about it, and we've just got to, have a plan and make sure that we're ready for everything that's going on. But anytime that you have this kind of familiarity with each other, there's always a little bit of just thought that goes into the game plan and the delivery of calls in there just because of who we're playing.
Jay, and then Sean.
Hey, E, we're going to be talking to Caden Haas here in a sec. I wanted to ask you, what was it about him that made you guys switch him over from O-line to D-line, and just how do you think he's taken to it?
He's actually sitting right here, so I'm going to be bragging about him in front of him. No, so he's one of the strongest guys in the weight room. I mean, on the team, and it's been that way for the last couple of years, and just brings a lot to the table as far as strength and stoutness. I mean, he's the guy that's done a phenomenal job, a student of the game, being able to play O-line and come back over to the defensive side and play, brings a lot to the room too, right? As far as teaching defensive linemen just the offensive line thoughts and schemes and all that stuff. And so he's been great for us in our room, but obviously been a great contributor and a guy that's a starter for us and playing really well.
Sean, go ahead.
Yeah, from one D lineman to another, but this time on the Baylor side, because they've got a defensive lineman, an LSU transfer, who I think you guys recruited a little bit when he was at East High School in Apuika, if I recall correctly. Do you remember very much about him and kind of those recruiting days and what kind of a player he was? And I think he had BYU on his list, but I maybe need to double check that. But do you remember much about him from his high school days?
Yeah, I recruited him. He was committed to us, and we actually are related. And it's you obviously want kids to do what's best for them. You want what's best for your program, and sometimes it's just not the best fit. And obviously he's doing a good job. Playing at LSU and getting a chance to play where he's at now. I think he's happy, and I'm happy for him. But it's sometimes it's just not a good deal, and so you just decide to part ways, and he did that, and we're happy for him.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Coach.
All right, thanks. All yours. Sorry.